You're watching Newsfeed AM. Let's take you back to one of our leading stories now, and it is the Section 89 panel report, which Parliament voted on yesterday. Let's get some analysis now, and we speak to the founder of news platform explain.co.za. She's also a political commentator, Verashni Pillay, who talks to us. I haven't spoken to you in a long time, Verashni. It's good to see you. So let's start with the moment that I suspect captivated just about everyone in South Africa, except those who probably knew that she would take this step in Parliament, and that's Dr. Zuma during that vote. Let's quickly take a listen to her before you give me your reaction.
Dlamini Zuma, NC.
As a disciplined member of the ANC, I vote yes.
Verashni, I don't know if you saw that on TV yesterday. I'm keen to know, and by the way, we're going to be talking to her later this hour. I'm keen to know just your reading of the body language first. She was seated between Pravin Gordhan and Togo Didiza. These are fellow cabinet ministers. And just looking at her body language as well, is that something that you anticipated, that here's something big that was coming?
You know, Polly, it really was a remarkable moment. To think that MPs did not break ranks for serious constitutional demeanors by former President Jacob Zuma, and to see Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma take that step to be so boldly out of line with the three-line party work and all the pressure that the party leaders were putting on MPs to vote with the party line, and for her to stand up and to say the words, "I'm voting with my conscience," for the impeachment process to go ahead.
You know, there is something that then is said by the chairperson of the ANC, Gwede Mantashe, after that sitting to reporters outside, and he's quite clear that we are going to have to report to the ANC that there are 5 members who would have gone against the party line. Is it safe to assume that members like Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma will likely face disciplinary action?
You know, Polly, it's very hard to say. At the end of the day, you still have a party that is being led by a man who considers himself a pacifist and who acts in many ways, against the instincts of going for the political kill. He really likes to give his opponents, the benefit of the doubt. And with someone as powerful as Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, it is very difficult to see how the ANC might discipline her for saying she's voting with her conscience. It's very difficult to see how they might rein in someone like that. On the other hand, she and many of the others, besides the one lady who tried to change her vote, many of the others have been very clear that they're pro the report, they're pro the president facing impeachment. They've been vocal about this. And contrary to other members who chose not to attend, like Lindy, Sulu and Mkhize, they did attend and vote with their conscience, as they said. So it'll be very hard to know how the party will discipline them, as Mantashe hinted, without creating another storm in a teacup.
But again, Verashni, if we go back into history, the many motions of no confidence that former President Jacob Zuma faced, there were those members that we reported on many, many moons ago who, quote unquote, voted in line with their conscience. Was there any disciplinary action taken at that time, or is this now a special decision for those who would have done this against President Ramaphosa?
Well, this is exactly the case, right? The ANC will be in a very difficult position if they take a hard line right now, if they have not done so previously. So, Fadi, you make an excellent point there, that how the ANC will look particularly bad. There will be all those accusations again that Ramaphosa is acting against his enemies. It's one thing to have a step-aside motion when someone's been criminally charged. Ramaphosa usually waits, and he makes the ANC leaders wait until there is a weight of evidence, a body of evidence against a member before he acts. We've seen it with Mkhize and the Digital Vibes contract. We've seen it with various members of the ANC. For the ANC leadership to act against someone who is hiding behind the veil or, saying that they're acting with their conscience when it has not done so before will create a huge political headache for Ramaphosa at a time he can ill afford it. Remember, Friday is the start of the ANC National and Elective Conference.
Yeah, and as a final question, I'm going to pose that to you as we go to that conference. But before we get there, here's another this particular action that was taken by the ANC in Parliament to protect its president, is that a good look for a president who came to office saying, I am about reform, I am about cleaning up corruption, we are not going to have holy cows? It may not exactly been the words that he used, but is this a good look for a man like that?
Well, absolutely, Polly. That is the key thing here. The ANC and Ramaphosa are within their rights to go to court and take this report and review, to say they're waiting for the South African Reserve Bank and Hawke's investigation to conclude. But they could have held themselves to a higher level of accountability. Sure, the report did not it wasn't strong enough to motivate for an impeachment inquiry. But constitutional law expert Pierre de Vos made a very good point, saying the ANC and even the opposition could have asked for an ad hoc committee to investigate and do a proper report, better than the Mtobo report was, to truly find out if Ramaphosa had breached the Constitution. So you're absolutely right that they are hiding behind the report being legally not very sound, but they could hold themselves to a higher level of accountability if they really were serious about Ramaphosa's reform agenda.
I can't allow for this conversation to conclude, Verashni, without asking about the Minister of Tourism, Lindy Sulu. We saw her earlier on this news channel. The time was around 10ish. Our colleague Erin Bates was in Parliament. She was there at that ANC meeting, which would have given the instruction as to which way to vote. So she was in Cape Town, but came the crucial moment, she's nowhere to be found. Where was Dr. Zweli Mkhize at the same time? What should we read into their absence?
Absolutely. And I think what we can read into their absence is an absolute lack of unity and just deep disorganization with the faction, within the faction that is opposed to Ramaphosa. They should have chosen one or the other. One, we're all going to do what Zuma did, vote with our conscience, make a statement to the rest of the party. Or two, we're going to all boycott the sitting. This mixed signal that they've sent us, with Zweli Mkhize not showing up at all, with Lindy Sulu clearly showing up in part and then bunking the crucial moment, as you say, plus others choosing to vote, sends the signal that this is a faction in disarray. They can barely get their act together, and it's an embarrassing look, and it puts them on the back foot as they go into that conference where they were hoping to unseat Ramaphosa, but that is looking increasingly unlikely.
Yeah, if that, what occurred in Parliament, is or could be viewed as a dress rehearsal for what we are going to see come Friday, that's the start of the conference. What do you think we should anticipate at that conference, particularly given the fact that you're going to have two important reports that are debated there, Phala Phala and Digital Vibes?
Absolutely, and we'll see both those reports being used as political tools. And I think what we'll see, I mean, I've personally covered these conferences before. I was at Nasrec when Ramaphosa was elected, and it's a very tense atmosphere, right? I remember we waited for so long for those final votes to be counted because so much was hanging in the balance. And you know, it was a very close win. This time, based on the numbers of nominations, what Zweli Mkhize got and what Ramaphosa got in terms of nominations from the branches, Ramaphosa is far ahead. But that could change as between the nominations and now, the Phala Phala report came out. However, I believe the Ramaphosa faction is emboldened after his party and allies rallied around him at the NWC, the NEC, and at Parliament. So I think Ramaphosa is actually going into this elective conference feeling more emboldened than he was before. And that puts the Mkhize and so-called RET faction more on the back foot, and unless they're able to get more support from the floor in the course of the conference. But given how disorganized they've been at the parliamentary Section 89 decision, I don't have high hopes for them.
Seasoned journalist and founder of news platform explain.co.za, Verashni Pillay, thank you very much for your time.